Yo guys, and welcome to a new video. Welcome to this new refurbished series that I already did on my Dutch version of this channel, but was highly requested to do again on this channel. Welcome to what I watched in the month May. Alright, so this series is a series I do once a month, and it's actually just me telling you what movies I watched in the last month. Are they recommendations? Aren't they recommendations? We'll see about that this month. Normally, when I did this the first time, we were still in a COVID lockdown, so those videos were mostly quite long, with me having watched 40 to 50 movies in a month. But now that's not the case anymore. In May, I went on a vacation to England. It was really fucking fun and I really loved it there. I also worked my ass off the entire time, so I didn't have that much time. I am still getting used to living on my own in this new home and in this new chamber. So yeah, that is interesting. So I didn't watch 40 or 50 movies last month. I watched 27 movies, which is still quite a nice amount of movies. I also didn't do that many marathons. Normally I did a lot of marathons with Kevin, but we don't have time for that. I did some on my own just to get me ready for some movies, but I didn't do a lot. So you're gonna see a lot of variable movies in this list. But let's start with the first one I watched on May 1st. And I started May with watching Memory, a new movie from Liam Neeson, a new action movie, the 7th time he said he has stopped. In this movie, Liam Neeson plays a character with dementia, and we gotta think about the fact maybe Liam Neeson himself also has dementia, because he said he was gonna quit action movies this many times, and usually his action movies are not very good, but I must say I find quite some enjoyment in this one, purely based on the fact that it's actually a remake of a Belgian movie called The Memory of a Killer, or De Zaak Alzheimer in Flemish. It's a really great Belgian movie, and this American remake, it isn't nowhere near as good, but it's still a fun watch, and I gotta say, I was quite surprised to see that they actually managed to keep the story of The Memory of a Killer still intact. I thought this was going to be an American remake where they literally undid everything that came before and just made something of their own. They didn't, and I'm quite happy for that. Worth watching? Yes. The second movie I watched this month was in preparation for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and I thought I'm going to go back to a very long time ago. I watched the original 1978 pilot TV episode movie, Doctor Strange. This movie was bad. It's one of those bad Marvel movies coming from a bad time where just everything about it is bad. And it's no surprise that this movie didn't start a revolutionary TV series. No, the TV series was not even made after this movie was released. It's a cult movie, but a cult movie that not many people love. Would I recommend this one to you? No, just stick to Benedict Cumberbatch. It's fun to watch once when you're absolutely craving for an awful movie, but after that, just don't give this a one to watch. Getting on with, of course, the original 2016 Doctor Strange starring Benedict Cumberbatch, and I gotta say, I am one of the people that actually quite love this movie. I really think this is good. I really think the story is not that grand or bombastic and very new. It all has been told before in the same way this movie tells its origin story, but it's the visuals, it's the entire CGI sequences, it's the time sequences, it's everything from other dimension and dimension hopping that really makes this movie quite worth watching and worth rewatching. It's still mesmerizing to see to this day, and I think they did an incredible job casting Doctor Strange in this one. This one is definitely one you should check out. To then get on with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness itself. This movie was not as much of a madness as I hoped it would be. It's still a very good movie, but it's just nothing more than that. And I don't mean that by saying that there weren't a lot of cameos, or I didn't like that they didn't went to most universes we know, and that we did not have Deadpool in this movie or something like that. No, it's just for a movie called The Multiverse of Madness, it didn't have a lot of multiverse to start with. We went to 2 universes and saw blinks of a lot of them, but it was nothing more than that, and I wanted something more from this movie that I just didn't get when I watched it. And the first half of this movie, it's pretty rushed. It's not that great. It's still good, but there's nothing you can actually hold on to and say, yeah, I really love this and this stands out. That stuff is in the second half of this movie. I would recommend you to check it out, but if you like Marvel movies, if you don't, you're not gonna miss much. Then I rewatched The Black Klansman. It's a movie starring Adam Driver and John Davis Washington, and this movie is absolutely phenomenal. It tells a great story. It has great acting. It has Adam Driver in one of the most awesome sequences he has ever been in, namely this one. Oh, you gotta love him for that. He put his heart and soul in that one sentence. This movie is incredible. It really put my love. It really set the stage for my love for Spike Lee movies, and he did a great job with this one. This one, if you haven't seen it, is definitely worth checking out. But together with Doctor Strange came another movie, and that was Downton Abbey: A New Era. But I hadn't seen the original Downton Abbey movie before. I didn't even watch the TV series. So I did watch a 10-minute recap of Downton Abbey, the series, and then I watched this movie at home. And I liked it, but I also didn't like it. It was a very strange occasion where I was a little bit bored with what I saw. But I wasn't that bored that I found it bad. I still found it quite interesting, and it was still getting my attention, but it wasn't a movie that I am happy to rewatch or happy to go back to. It's just a movie that I have seen once. Would I recommend this movie? I don't think so. If you don't like British older movies, then this one is not for you, and I wouldn't recommend checking this one out. And then I watched The Conference, or the actual Deutsch name of this movie, or the German name is Die Konferenz, and this movie actually tells the story of the one conference that made the Holocaust happen. It's between a lot of German Nazis talking about how they are going to deal with Jews. It's really an interesting story and quite a sad story in history of the world, but it's a story that people need to see, and this movie does a great job of setting the stage. It's just plays in this one room for most of the movie. It's just them talking to each other, and they make you feel like you are in the room with these people. And the way this movie is set up is that it's, you know, as an audience, that everything that happens in this movie is bad, but still you feel like you get why they are saying certain things, and it makes you feel horrible about yourself, and it makes you feel horrible about the way you're watching this movie. That is the brilliance of this movie, is just the acting, and the way these people act in this movie is truly believable. This one is definitely worth a check out if you like war movies. And then I watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness again, and I gotta say, I feel the same as I just told you. Then Kevin and I came together and we watched the original The Mummy, not the 2017 Tom Cruise film, but the original The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and I gotta say, I really like this. It's an old movie, and the CGI, it's really outdated, but everything about this is just fun. This movie is an incredible amount of fun. It's not brilliant, it's not great, it's not phenomenal in any way, but it's a really Really fun time that you should check out if you haven't done already. I haven't watched the sequels though, so I only have seen this one and the 2017 The Mummy. But this one is good. Then I saw Operation Mincemeat, and Operation Mincemeat is a movie also about World War II, and it's about the greatest diversion ever put to war history. And this movie and the story behind this movie actually made sure that the English and the Americans and everyone else actually made their way back onto Europe when it was all Germany. So, really interesting story. They did something with a love story between this that didn't really fit in the story that they were telling. So that was kind of annoying and could have trimmed this movie down with 30 minutes and it would have been better for the movie. It's still good, but it's not a movie you should definitely check out. If you like war movies, it's maybe worth a watch. Then I watched The Ledge. I watched the trailer for this movie and I thought about logging it already because the trailer literally tells you everything you need to know. And watching the movie, it's not that much more than the trailer told you before. So if you have watched the trailer, congratulations, you've watched the movie. It's not good. The villains and the acting is atrocious. And the villain, the bad guy of this movie, actually only says bitch, bitch, bitch the entire movie. And it's really annoying. All that, and my theater, the projector broke down midway through, so I had to go to another room to watch this. I could have taken a free ticket and went and go home, but I decided to stay. This one, don't watch it. Surprise, surprise! Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. My opinion hasn't changed. Senior Year, a movie I wanted to do a review for. I haven't done it yet, and that's quite bad because now it doesn't even matter anymore. It's fun, weirdly enough. It's not good, but it's fun. I didn't have a bad time watching this. It's fun. You should check it out if you like dumb comedic movies because this worked. Then I watched Downton Abbey, A New Era, the movie I prepared myself for like a week ago. And this one, much better. It was really good. I was really invested in the story. I cried my eyes out in the end. This movie told us a quick side story talking about how movies changed from having this Charlie Chaplin-like movies to real talkies where people talked and emoted and just spoke. It was really good and I really loved that. And this movie, if you like how the history of movies and movie theaters is, and if you like British movies, then this one definitely is a worth watching. Remember when I said that I watched Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness 3 times and I missed something about the multiverse in that movie? Well, I also watched Everything Everywhere All at Once and it was like one of the best experiences I've ever had in the movie theater. This movie is phenomenal in every way. It's great, it's superb, the story is phenomenal, the acting is awesome. I can't even name one thing that is bad or less good about this movie because it's all so great. I really loved everything they did about it. I haven't done a review for this yet, so if you want one, please comment because I will definitely make one if you like it. So this movie, it's one of my favorite of the year and I think it will be there in the end of the year list. For now, it has no release date in Belgium, but it did in the Netherlands and it did all over the world. So if you get the chance to watch this movie, please go watch it. As a preparation for Obi-Wan Kenobi, I watched the prequel trilogy starting with The Phantom Menace, and I like this movie more than I did the first time because now I understood what the story was. And this movie, I'm not gonna say is it worth watching or not. If you like Star Wars, then this is definitely worth watching. If you don't like Star Wars and want to get in on this, maybe don't start with this one because it's clearly not the best movie. So yeah. Phantom Menace, I like it more than I watched it the first time, so that's interesting. Last Seen Alive is the new Garrett Butler action movie where he loses his wife in a gas station. And I gotta say, I think this movie would have been much more normal if Liam Neeson starred in this. It was not bad, but it was also not good. It was one of these movies that, I don't know, it's nothing special. But it's not that awful either. Should you check this one out? Not really. You're missing nothing. It's just a fun one. I didn't stress myself watching this. It was quite okay. But I just saw Liam Neeson doing this role instead of Jared Butler. Attack of the Clones. It's just not as good as the Phantom Menace was, and the Phantom Menace wasn't even that good. This is just bad writing overall. It has really fun quips, and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker are awesome. And it's great to see how the clones came to be. But as an introduction to the Clone Wars series and the Clone Wars movie, it's really not that good, and it just sets up a war that is concluding in the next movie. So you really don't get a lot from this, and that's why this movie is just not that good. Chippendale Rescue Rangers is a movie that I quite had some fun with. This one isn't groundbreaking in any ways, apart from the immense amount and incredible cameos that this movie had. Ugly Sonic, I really loved everything about him. I really want to see a Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie with Ugly Sonic in it. I mean, this movie solidified what I wanted from Ugly Sonic, so I'm really happy about that. It's just a fun movie. You should definitely check it out. You're really gonna have a good time with this, and it's worth rewatching because, well, the first time you're all focusing a little bit more on the story, so the second time you watch this, you can just go all out on the cameos. This movie is worth checking out. It's on Disney Plus. Please go check it out. It's fun. Then I watched the movie that not a lot of you are gonna know. It's called Moloch. It's one of the first Dutch horror movies, and they did the horror aspect of the movie right. It was really, really gruesome with moments, and I really liked how they adored the horror sequences of it, but for the rest, it's quite empty, and I mean by that, it could have been more, and it wasn't more. The story is quite confusing up until the end. I saw people leave this movie saying I didn't get anything of that. It's a good movie, but it's quite confusing. So if you are having a time where you want to watch horror movies but don't think a lot, then this movie is not made for you. So if you want to check it out, if you like horror, it's worth watching, but apart from that, meh. You gotta love some Jackass 4.5. It was awesome. I really liked this, but I gotta say, I didn't get nearly as much as I did from this movie as from the first Jackass Forever. It's still a good movie, and I liked what they did with the characters and with this friend group, and you can really see the friends being even more close than you can see in the Jackass Forever movie. But just what they did and what happened and how they set it up wasn't quite as interesting as the first one. So if you are seeking for a movie to watch, it's always fun to see more Jackass, but I would recommend Jackass Forever even more. Star Wars The Clone Wars is an interesting introduction into the TV series of the Clone Wars, but it's nothing more than that. This movie is like a huge, ginormous, gigantic episode of Star Wars The Clone Wars, but it's just not that good. It's a really interesting movie in the first 30 minutes, getting to know Ahsoka, getting to know these more fun sides and even more funny pieces between Obi-Wan and Anakin, but apart from that, the entire storyline with this Hutt creature, the nephew of Jabba, it's just not that good. It's not that interesting. Should you check this out? Well, if you love Star Wars, then it's worth checking out, but maybe just stick to the TV series. Ahsoka Tano is the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. Now you know everything you need to know, and you don't have to watch this movie. Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith remains one of my favorite Star Wars movies and maybe is my favorite of them all. If I have to rewatch a Star Wars movie, it's gonna be this one. I gotta say I found less enjoyment in this than I did the last time because now I know the plot twists and what will happen, but the important scenes talking about hello there, General Kenobi, and everything else like Order 66 and especially the Battle of Mustafar. It's great. I really like this movie. It has the best Star Wars moments in history. If you're not talking about some of the moments in the original movies, I am your father. It's a great one, and I really like this. If you haven't seen it, please go watch it right fucking now, and then go watch Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then my camera yeeted the fuck out while I still have 4 movies to do, and I realized I had to go to a movie theater, so we are now 4 hours later, but time for the last 4 movies. And I also watched Top Gun in preparation for Top Gun Maverick. Top Gun, it isn't the best movie. It doesn't have the best story. It doesn't have the best characters, but it does have Tom Cruise flying planes. And that's always fun. And I gotta say that for many people, this movie is considered a cult classic because it has its fandom. But not a lot of people are part of that fandom. But the people that are part of its fandom, those are usually very big fans of it. I gotta say, I'm in the middle of it. I like the movie. I'm sure that I will enjoy a rewatch of this movie, but it's nothing more than that. So if you like movies about guys constantly shirtless, sweating against each other's bodies and flying planes all of a sudden, then this movie is something for you, and you should definitely check it out. But of course, after Top Gun, I saw Top Gun Maverick, and this was one of the best movie experiences ever. This is what blockbusters are made for. This is what redefines movie theaters. Tom Cruise said no against a streaming service release. He made sure that this movie came out only in theaters. He succeeded in it, and now he has rewritten history with this. This movie is breaking box office records, and it rightfully deserves so. It's one of the best sequels ever made. It's a phenomenal movie. It's great. It has the action, the suspense. It has the heart, the love, the story. Everything is good about this. It's still in movie theaters because it has only been out for a week now. You should definitely watch it because it's so incredibly goddamn great. Then I went on vacation and didn't watch any movies, to then come back the last day of the month to watch 2 more movies. And the first one being Belle. It's an anime movie. It's about a world named You, and it's about this girl that has an online character. I'm not gonna say that much about the film because you will need to watch this for yourself. It gets confusing at times. It's a story that is a little bit overdone. It's a story that is overstuffed, but it's a story that still is good. But the main thing that hyped me up for this movie is its incredible visuals in the anime style. This movie looks amazing. It looks phenomenal. The story doesn't hold up quite as much as you hope it would, but it tells you a lot about certain things in the world, about domestic abuse and stuff, and obviously the world has been filled with domestic abuse, the internet quite lately. So this movie is something you would want to give a watch when you can. It's not out in theaters anymore, but you can still watch it online because it has been released on some streaming platforms. So you should watch this if you like anime. If you don't like anime, I don't think this movie will be for you. And to end it all, I watched a movie. It's a classic one. I watched Jurassic Park and it was fucking awesome. This movie is great in every aspect of the word. I mean, it's a 1993 classic and it still holds up to this day. It has almost no CGI because they used animatronics to get these dinosaurs alive, and that is impressive in and of itself. So I really love that. It makes you feel the tension, it makes you feel all the right emotions. Steven Spielberg made one of his best movies, and I really want to read the book where this movie is based on, because if the movie can be this phenomenal, then the book has to be good too. Obviously, I watched this in preparation for Jurassic World Dominion. I have also watched The Lost World, but that is for the June month. I am now going to watch the third Jurassic Park, then the first world, then the second world, and then on Sunday I will go watch Dominion. Have heard that Dominion is not that good of a movie. but we'll see. It's still very, very early. It comes out in 6 days, but the first premieres have just begun. I heard bad things, but it has Jeff Goldblum, so it has to be good. We'll see. Next month. And probably with a review. Not gonna promise anything. I'm so bad at making videos right now. Alright, how did you like it? So that was what I watched in this month, May. I watched 27 movies. How many movies did you watch? Let me know in the comments down below because I'm really excited to hear your things. What kind of movies did you watch? What kind of movies do you recommend to watch for me? Maybe you saw a movie and you think you should definitely check that out. Even though it can't be reviewed because it's not a movie made this year, then I can still review it on here. So if you want my opinion on a movie, please recommend it in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and goodbye.